Movie licensed games have a really bad reputation in the gaming world. More often than not, a publisher will secure the video game rights to the movie just so they can rush something out and try to make a quick buck off the brand recognition. But that's not to say all of them were bad. In fact, there have been some absolutely epic movie-based games throughout the years, and in this video, we're going to talk about the best of the best. Welcome to the Gaming Vault. My name is Jimmy, and today we are going to be looking at 10 games that were based on movies, and they were actually really good. And just so we're all on the same page, I'm going to try and keep the list limited to one game per franchise, because otherwise, this would be a list of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings games. Let's be honest with each other. Let me know in the comments what you think the best movie-based game of all time is. Drop a like. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you enjoy everything gaming. And at number 10, Mad Max 2015. This seems to be a somewhat controversial game because some people think it's the most boring thing they've ever played, but others, they consider it to be a top-tier open-world game and an excellent Mad Max adaptation. The game dropped in 2015, was pretty dramatically overshadowed by other games that were released at that time, but it's a very old-school and very open-world game set in the Mad Max universe. It gives you all of that freedom to drive around, beef up your ride, get into some punch-ups with various gangs around the world, and pretty much do whatever you want. Like I said, reception to the game was split. But if you like the Mad Max game, you really like the Mad Max game. And I think it's a great adaptation of the source material. It's not for everyone, but nothing really is, right? So give Mad Max another shot. I think maybe this is one you overlooked, or maybe you wrote it off. At number 9, RoboCop Rogue City. The Mad Max game may have gotten a split reception, but the reaction to RoboCop, it was much more unified. The game is awesome. Single-player FPS where you play as RoboCop, of course, and you're trying to take down various gangs around the city, and the gameplay is some of the most unique in the FPS genre. Since RoboCop is a pretty slow-moving guy, the developers of Rogue City, they learned that they should lean into it. That made you feel like you're a walking tank. You just stomp around the levels. You soak up enemy fire, then you blow them away with a wide array of guns. There's even some light RPG elements throughout the campaign to make it feel a bit more varied between the combat missions, and it is super clear that everybody who worked on the game was a mega fan of the classic RoboCop films. That's how you want it to be. RoboCop Rogue City is one of the best first-person shooters of the 2020s. Yes, I said it. And it's definitely one of the best movie games of all time. Before we move on, guys, do me a favor. If you enjoy anything gaming, from Let's Plays, walkthroughs, full game cinematic movies, the newest trailers, these top 10s, make sure you're subscribed to the Gaming Vault. Make sure that you ring that bell, turn on all those notifications, and join me for everything that's to come on the channel. At number 8, Friday the 13th, The Game. Now, this game unfortunately suffered from some legal drama that led to updates being really slow and the support being prematurely ended, but the game itself is awesome. I'm still holding on hope that it gets revived now that all the legal issues with the Friday the 13th IP and franchise have actually been resolved. This is an asymmetrical multiplayer game. One player controls Jason, the other players control camp counselors trying to escape the area in one piece. There is a ton of fan service. The gameplay is addicting no matter who you play as, and it can actually get a little bit scary intense when you're playing against Jason, who knows all the tricks and is getting into character. I know a lot of people have been getting a bit burnt out on asymmetrical multiplayer games over the last decade or so, but Friday the 13th is genuinely one of the best of its kind. I'm really crossing my fingers that the new Friday owners recognize how huge their game community is, and they put some effort into reviving it. At number 7, Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2. There have been many games based on the Lord of the Rings books, and there have been even more based on the movies. Battle for Middle-earth 2 was released in 2006. It was a real-time strategy game meant to bring the battles of the movies to life, and it did just that. There's a good campaign, there's an evil campaign, you can see both sides of the story. The gameplay was large-scale for Middle-earth army battles, gave you a ton of control over your troops, and it would really test your ability as a commander. It got good reviews upon release, but fan opinions of the game have only gotten better over the years. It's now considered to be one of the best, if not the best, Lord of the Rings games ever made. So hopefully, this one gets a re-release or a remaster at some point, because I really feel like it deserves to be preserved. At number 6, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, The Game. Now, the Scott Pilgrim series of graphic novels were pretty popular when it was first dropping, and it garnered a very respectable following since then. About a decade ago, there was a live-action adaptation directed by Edgar Wright and starring Michael Cera that, in my opinion, is a fantastic film. But to accompany the movie, Ubisoft dropped a game on Xbox Live Arcade, if you guys remember what that is, and it followed the plot of the movie, but it used an art style from the graphic novels. It resulted in a really unique presentation. It was an old-school beat-em-up kind of game with a banger soundtrack and up to 4-player co-op, which was really cool. The game was delisted due to licensing issues a while back, but thankfully, it has since been re-released, so you can go play it. The gameplay was good, the art style was really good, the music was amazing. It's just an all-around good game. At number 5, LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga. Some people prefer the Skywalker Saga when it comes to the LEGO Star Wars games, but if you ask me, I think the Complete Saga is where it's at. This game was a classic 3D action platformer. Tons of collectathon elements to keep you occupied, play the levels over and over, unlock everything. The humor, it's awesome. LEGO humor always is. The attention to detail is amazing, and the gameplay is aged beautifully, and it's just one of the most purely fun games ever made. Classic LEGO games had a charm to them that no other franchise came close to, and I still think LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga is the best representation of why people love the series. At number 4, and this one is dear to my heart, one of my favorite games of all time, GoldenEye 007. It was an N64 exclusive. It helped prove that first-person shooters were viable on consoles, paving the way for games like Halo and Call of Duty all through the next decade. But playing GoldenEye in the current year, it's still fun. The amount of character in this game is amazing. The level design is still really good. The gadgets, they're good. The pacing, it's good. And how can we not mention the local multiplayer? There have been a couple attempts to modernize GoldenEye, but honestly, I think the original N64 version is the best. It was influential, but even on its own, it was a good game. If you got access to an N64 emulator, go try it. Some of the controls are a tad dated. I get that. The performance isn't great, and I know what the graphics are, but think about when it came out. It's a legacy game. Now we arrive at number 3. Alien Isolation. It is rare for a AAA horror game to really lean into a slower pace and slow boil, but that's part of what made Alien Isolation work so well. First-person horror game serves as a sequel to the original Alien movie and has you playing as the daughter of the film's only survivor as she responds to her mom's distress signal, only to find herself being hunted down by the xenomorph on the space station. Alien Isolation has incredible atmosphere. The pacing's great. It gets under your skin, makes you paranoid of every sound you hear as you walk around the station and try to complete the objectives before the alien catches up to you and insta-kills you. It's a good game. Excellent adaptation of the first Alien movie, and I love how they just connected it right into it. It's the sequel to the movie. At number 2, The Thing, 2002. The Thing is one of the most influential horror movies of all time, being released all the way back in 1982, and it was directed by none other than John Carpenter. In 2002, 20 years after the movie came out, there was a video game adaptation released for the PC, the PS2, and the Xbox. Easily one of the most underrated horror games of the decade and possibly of all time. The game was set following the events of the movie, had you playing as a member of the U.S. Special Forces unit who was sent to Antarctica's outpost where the movie took place, all in an attempt to figure out what happened. However, the alien from the movie survived, of course, and you're now tasked with surviving against an enemy that you can't see or fight back against, all while trying to stay on good terms with your NPC squad mates who are growing more and more suspicious that you've been taken over by an alien and you're trying to betray them. In case you haven't seen The Thing, the monster has the ability to inhabit and control the bodies of any living thing without changing their appearance. It creates this feeling of paranoia among the crew members because they literally don't know if the alien is walking among them or not. The 2002 game adaptation did a great job at translating that horror into a video game because throughout the experience, you not only have to stay trustworthy to your squad mates to keep them from turning on you, but you also have to be on the lookout for your squad mates starting to act strange because that could be an indication that the alien has taken over their body and is planning on attacking. It's tense, it's well paced, it's really good. Keeps you on your toes just like the characters in the movie were. It's also recently announced this game is getting a remaster that's scheduled for release later this year, so if you didn't get a chance to play it back then, you should be able to by the end of 2024. And now, number 1. The best game based on a movie, in my opinion, is Spider-Man 2 2004. This is the game that defined what all open-world Spider-Man games would be in the future, and it still holds up. Open-world game developed by Treyarch, yes, you heard me right, Treyarch, Call of Duty Treyarch, that was loosely based on the second Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. It completely changed the game for superhero games. Not only were the graphics and performance really good for a game of its size, but it also perfected the art of web swinging and loading the map with side missions. You had collectibles, you had crimes to foil. Spider-Man 2 is a great game, and the fact that Treyarch put so much time and effort into a movie tie-in game, that's super commendable. Other studios would have been hired for a movie game and they just phoned it in. Treyarch went all out, made one of the most influential open-world games of all time. Easily the best movie game of all time, and absolutely worth a playthrough if you've never tried it for some reason. Doesn't matter if it was 2004. Go give it a go. There you have it, my friends. Let me know one game based on a movie that should have made this list. And in the comment section, let me know what video you'd like to see next.